Supervisor is now working at a nearby prison at a job that pays over $97,000 a year. Tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the low 20s. Tomorrow, partly sunny, highs in the low 30s. And Wednesday, mostly cloudy, highs in the low 40s. It's currently 42 degrees here on Brady Street, and 39 in Waukesha. For 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, happy Monday to you, my good friend. We hardly ever work Mondays anymore.
It's been a few Mondays. Happy Monday, Crudy. Good to see you, man.
Buddy, you on 3 or 4 there?
This is 4.
See, you tricked me.
I told you 4.
No, you lied. You said you were going on 3.
That's what I said first, and then I said I'm taking 4.
You see the kind of circumstances I must work under.
Yes, I see how often you listen to the words that I say, Crudy.
You know, of all the greatest assets in your life, consistency is not one of them.
I'm absolutely consistent.
Dom, if you had a list, lifelong assets, if you had to look in the mirror and self-assess, what would your 2 greatest assets be? What would people say about
my
you?
sense of humor and my humility. You get it?
I do. It took a moment. I'm moving a little slow.
Crudy,
It is a Monday.
Come on, now help me out. What if you were to yell out to the people, let them know, stand from the rooftops, tell them what Crudy's all about, why you are as great as you are, Crudy. What is your greatest asset?
This dance move right here.
Is that what it is?
The white man
yourself.
shuffle.
Don't hurt yourself.
No, I've got stature, sort of a large bulbous melanous head that contains a tremendous brain.
You have a great memory.
I have one of the greatest brains ever. But, my memory, imperfect. It's close, but it's imperfect. But Dom, why did we start like this? Donald Trump, he had a self-assessment of sorts. Perhaps a little overreactive, that big tell-all book, Fast and Furious, or whatever they're calling it.
Oh, hell no.
Fire and Fury!
There you go, thank you.
Inside the White House, something of that sort. I like Fast and Furious.
I do too. It flows better.
Fire, fury, and frankly, power.
I can't wait for Frankly Power to come out next year.
What did Trump tweet over the weekend, Don?
Well, of course,
and you can't even take a weekend off because he's always on the toilet. You got to figure every morning, bright and early, he's up tweeting.
Hey, he's working hard. No wonder why he wants to, slow down his workday. We'll get to that later. But here's what Trump was tweeting. If you were under a rock, allow me to read it to you from January 6th. That would have been Saturday. Now that Russian collusion, after 1 year of intense study, has proven to be a total hoax on the American people, the Democrats and their lapdogs, the fake news mainstream media, are taking out the old Ronald Reagan playbook and screaming mental stability and intelligence. Tweet number 1. He follows up. Actually, throughout my life, my 2 greatest assets have been mental stability and being, really smart.
Is that direct quoting?
This is absolutely direct
precisely
quoting.
As he phrased it. He really smart?
My greatest assets have been mental stability and being, really smart. Period.
Wile E. Coyote, super genius.
Right. Now, I get it when people talk, a lot of people are likers. Oh, I like this, and I was like this, and I was like that. People, but when you actually take out the time to tweet, to type it out, to thumb it out, to take the time and saying that, you know, your assets were like being really smart. What? So it's being like really smart? You're not really smart? What would you call it if you were just like really smart?
Hey, man, don't challenge me on grammar this early. Obviously, if the really smart, like really smart president doesn't understand grammar, why should I?
He continues, crooked Hillary Clinton also played these cards very hard and, as everyone knows, went down in flames. I went from very successful businessman to top TV star to president of the United States on my first try. I think that would qualify as not smart, but genius, ... and a very stable genius at that.
A very stable genius at that. That's how I would also describe myself. Very stable genius.
I'm smart. I'm smart. I'm a respect.
You know, I don't think, I'm always even a little, I'm not humble. You know that. But when you start bragging a little too loudly about something you are, it's often because you are not. We are the greatest radio show ever. I think it's fair if we say that.
The announcer says it every day.
Well, we have listened to our inferior competition, and we have come to that conclusion.
After years of scientific research.
If something better comes along, we'll let you know. But until then, we are the greatest radio show ever.
You're welcome.
But Dominic, be it the size of one's, let's call it missile button, or the size of one's intellect, when you gotta
say
claim it a little too much, what's the flip side? You protest a little too much. When you claim you got a big stick or a big brain and you're really stable, you probably don't have a big stick. You probably don't have a big brain. And so very clearly, the man is not stable.
Well, isn't that... He's proving the point in the book. This man needs instant gratification. And
Talk about Michael Wolff's book, Fast and Furious. Fire and Fury!
He needs that. And I think he needs, the sycophants. He needs the constant reinforcement. Because, of course, he is not a genius. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, you made some money in real estate. You made some money in a TV show. Damn, you got elected. I'll give you that. But none of those things mean that you're a genius. I mean, there are specific formulas to determine if one is a genius. You can take the test if your IQ is above.
He threatened to do the IQ testing with Rex Tillerson. Don't make him go there again.
Do it. I mean, how can you claim mantle? I mean,
the man won't show his taxes. He's certainly not going to show a IQ test.
I cannot sit here and say I can slam dunk a basketball on a 10-foot rim and sit there and tell you I'm the greatest slam dunk champion ever, and then not go forward and do it. I mean, there's a way to see if he is a genius.
Pulled my hamstring.
Or not.
Can't do it today.
Hey, my arm, I think it's broken.
You wouldn't know my intellect. He lives in Canada.
So it's very simple. Now, the fact that he had to come out and say these things and tweet them out to millions of people and have the discussion. And it's not just us. Of course, everybody jumped on him. I can't imagine that the Republicans that he was hanging out with up in the woods were all too pleased
Camp David.
that this was going on.
Little getaway from the wife and kids and hanging out with Uncle Donnie.
Oh, my God.
And generally, and I'm not going to say I've been exposed to all types of people, but many types of people. The guy that's usually telling you how bright he is usually just blasted a couple rails in the bathroom. You know what I mean? It's usually that guy. Let me tell you, I got a Corvette outside, and he's talking really fast. He's telling you how great he is.
His eyes are searching.
Well, I'm not implying that the president is on drugs. And,
but at least that would be something. If he's not on drugs,
at least
then
he
I'm
could
really
go to
scared.
rehab. There could be an intervention.
Being really smart. I'm really smart, and I'm so really smart. I actually type out when I talk. I can't believe that you guys don't understand what I'm talking about.
My only thought, gag me with a spoon. Just a little too much Valley Girl.
Just a little too much. Well, I'm surprised with Trump. He's an East Coast guy.
Yeah, Trump. He's a unique sort of guy, folks. As are we, the devil's advocates. Trump, he does a hell of a job if you're looking for a reality TV star. I mean, this man makes a hell of a WWE villain or a reality TV star.
I'm not saying this couldn't be entertaining in the right circumstances. This is not one of those circumstances. The presidency is not one of those circumstances I want to be entertained with by a buffoon who has to sit there and convince the world he's a genius.
But that's the only thing he really is genius at, is capturing everyone's attention. He is the egomaniac to beat all egomaniacs. And I don't even like to talk about things like Trump's crazy, broadly, sure. But I don't want to put people with actual mental illnesses in with this tremendous narcissist. I mean, that's not a diagnosis. It's evident that any layman, this man's just self-centered. He's just a juvenile in his behavior. He's all about instant gratification. And I can't think of anyone that would describe him as stable, not even his own chief of staff, John Kelly, wherever he's been.
Kelly? Well, there are some that will go out there and say it, Crudy. Stephen Miller went on Jake Tapper on CNN. He says Trump's a genius.
I need a guy like Stephen Miller to go be a spokesman for me. Come back with us, Devil's Advocate. You're my Stephen Miller.
Oh, hell no.
News Talk 1510 AM WRRD.
I'm smart and I want respect.
One of the great memories of all time. Where's the Coast Guard? Who can speak on behalf of the Coast Guard? I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated.
Our vice president, where's our vice president?
I went to better schools than they did. I was a better student than they were.
Where is our General Kelly? He likes to keep a low profile. Look at him sitting in the back. But boy, is he watching. You have no idea.
Was either a certified genius or an authentic wacko.
Wile E. Coyote, super genius.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property, or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009, or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
I'm Andy Buck, and I'm proud to be union.
Tell me about the underground economy.
Well, the underground economy is essentially workers being exploited, and they're being exploited all over the state. They're working for no benefits, no retirement, and if you don't join your brothers and sisters, you don't respect your craft.
Andy, why should I hire union?
Crudy, you should hire union because you want the job done right the first time. We represent the highest skilled, safety-trained workers in the industries that we represent. Glazers, painters, and drywall finishers. Join us. Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
Rich is just a really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton and Cates.
I needed an attorney because I was injured at work. I wanted to find a reputable attorney. The results that I got with Lawton and Cates were very good. I'm very happy with the way I was treated and the end result that I got.
Trust the voice of experience. Call the attorneys at Lawton and Cates. 282-6200. 282-6200.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14.
13.
We took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted. He realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change, called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
That guy is a scary son of a gun, and I hope people start paying attention and get him the heck out of there, because he's like a big fascist general that's controlling our state, and then our attorney general. Wow, that guy ought to be locked up himself. I mean, he makes the sheriff of Milwaukee look kind of saintly.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Warning, listening to the Devil's Advocates may expose you to opposing views.
We are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD. Streaming live on YouTube, Facebook. We're on Twitter at Devil Radio. And you can always get us on the phones. We don't screen them. We'll take anybody. 844-967-2789.
Dominic, Stephen Miller. Your buddy. Although you've got a little better hair.
Why is that guy my buddy?
Nah,
what a whack job.
Yeah.
Wow.
A bit of a whack. Bit of a white supremacist, this guy. Not a nice man. Apparently, he wrote the inauguration speech, at least in part.
Well, that would make absolute sense. You and I were in the room then, Crudy. What a dark and dreary day that was.
You're thinking of the nomination speech. Although the inauguration speech was also, it was a page-turner.
We left.
That was in deference to a few raindrops and wanted to beat the traffic to the bar.
Yeah, we have priorities here. It was Trump after all.
Anyway, Stephen Miller went on the fake news CNN Jake Tapper. And by the way, I thought Trump was going to roll out some awards, some disgraceful media fake news stuff. Wasn't that supposed to be today?
It was supposed to be, but Crudy, he did tweet this out yesterday. We'll continue on with Stephen Miller, but let's update the folks. Here's Donald Trump.
I was looking forward to that. I was hoping to be nominated.
All we can do is try. It would be an honor just to be nominated. Donald Trump tweeted this out yesterday. The fake news awards, those going to the most corrupt and biased of the mainstream media, will be presented to the losers on Wednesday, January 17th, rather than this coming Monday. The interest in, and importance of, these awards is far greater than anyone could have anticipated.
I think I'm kind of busy that day. I'm doing my hair. I'm washing my hair.
Presented to the losers. Or the winners. Do you lose if you get Trump's award? Isn't that, doesn't make a lot of sense. Hey, congratulations.
Well, I got to thank Jim Acosta
the biggest loser.
And Jake Tapper and pretty much all the fine anchors over at CNN. I got to think they're all on the list. Trump may give each and every CNN participant, plus David Axelrod, anyone that ever sat on a CNN panel, they might all get one of the awards. Now, I'm pretty safe. My only national hit this year, Fox News.
You'll be all right, man.
Me and Joe Walsh.
Hey, Fox News I don't think would be included in this. Of course, this is the mainstream, the fake mainstream media.
Do you remember how I made Joe Walsh stutter?
Yes.
What the topic was?
No.
That Donald Trump, of course, was giving tax cuts to the rich through his tax proposition. And Joe Walsh, no. That's absolutely...
Is that what happened?
Yes. I was like the Nostradamus of Fox News that Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. You haven't been back since, have you?
No, but I did wear my super sexy 1510 AM WRRD Resistance Radio polo shirt on the show that day.
And
the black one. It was slimming. I'm not clear if I had pants on. They only showed me from, midriff up.
Let's play a little bit. Stephen Miller. What is his role anyway in this White House?
I thought he played in the band.
He's in the band.
Well, he wrote
skinhead
some speeches.
Band.
Yeah, he's a policy guy.
Really?
He's a driving force. This early 30s balding, neo-Nazi-ish sort of guy. Let's play the sound. Real nice fella.
This is, again, Stephen Miller on CNN State of the Union with Jake Tapper. Jake eventually cuts him off at the end of this clip. They went back and forth. We'll play this and then we'll get into it, if you would, please.
I was booked to talk about the very issues I'm just describing, and you're not even asking about them because they're not interesting facts to you.
That's not true. I have plenty of questions on immigration. You've attempted to filibuster by talking about your flights.
No, I'm not. I
want to ask you a question because
don't be condescending, Jake.
Stephen,
Jake,
the president and the White House.
The reason why I want to talk about
the president and the White House.
The reason why I want to talk about the president's experiences, what I've seen with him traveling to meet dozens of foreign leaders, with his incredible work.
Okay, you're not answering the questions.
No,
I understand.
You have 24 hours a day of anti-Trump material. You're not going to give 3 minutes for the American people to hear the real experience of Donald Trump.
There's one viewer that you care about right now, and you're being obsequious. You're being a factotum in order to please him. Okay.
No.
And I think I've wasted enough of my viewers' time. Thank you, Stephen. As Republicans, lawmakers call for Attorney General Jeff Sessions to resign. In a major reversal, Democrats are now coming to his defense. What changed? We'll ask the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee next.
Jake Tapper pulling the mic on Stephen Miller moving along, but of course, Crudy, you had mentioned to me.
I was going to pull the mic on you, but
don't do that.
I
man.
know.
It didn't stop there. It kept on going. Jake Tapper.
Yeah.
So what? They turned off the cameras and
the conversation continued.
And Miller had to be escorted off the set.
Haven't you ever been thrown out of a place, Dom?
I would imagine maybe at some point, but if I have been, it's been a while.
I cannot recall the last time that an interview on this fine show ended with A, me cutting off someone's mic, or B, having to throw him out of the studio. I mean, I look forward to that day. That could be compelling radio, but probably not, right? I mean, we've seen that, though. Guy just filibusters, won't answer the question. He comes there with an agenda. He's only going to talk about, fake news. Well, at some point, the host just says, cut.
At some point, yeah, you shut down the propaganda. And I watched the entirety of that interview. And Jake Tapper, I think, was right to shut it down. Stephen Miller just kind of started repeating his same bitches. And it's one thing to let the guy go for a couple of minutes and get it out. I get it, okay, but now you got to move on. And then he kept trying to interrupt Jake Tapper. You got to pull the plug at some point. You're talking to a wall, and all he's doing, Stephen Miller, is talking to the president.
Mike. I'll just throw that one out there. Come back with us. Phone lines open, 844-967-2789. Lonnie, be patient. It's been a while. We'll catch up with you next.
The guy was very, very angry and tired, and he wants to go home.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
The Stephanie Miller Show is on twice daily, 6 to 9 p.m. and midnight to 3 a.m. You can stream The Stephanie Miller Show and all of our fine programming on newstalk1510am.com.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes his speech, but he's always riding like he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy. their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, I'm using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella, Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. We provide 99.999% uptime. That's the highest availability and performance you can get. You have enough to worry about with your business data, web, security, and cloud services, so we'll manage your IT so you don't have to. Visit 5nines.com. That's the number 5nines.com.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Good afternoon. It is 2:32 for 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly, and I have some headlines for you. Governor Scott Walker and Assembly Republicans reach a deal to help Wisconsin's rural and cash-strapped schools. A bipartisan bill in Madison would be reestablish the state of Wisconsin's Conservation Corps. The state of Wisconsin also agreed to a $55,000 settlement last year with a woman who claimed she was sexually harassed while working at a prison in Racine. And District Attorney John Chisholm says he expects to make a decision soon about whether to bring charges in the death of Milwaukee County Jail inmate Terrell Thomas. And the Packers have chosen longtime scout Brian Gutekunst as their new general manager, while the Bucs go down to Indiana to take on the Pacers tonight. Tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the low 20s. It's currently 42 degrees on Brady Street and 39 in Waukesha. For 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly.
Fire, fury, and frankly, power.
Bring it? Oh, it's already been brought in. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. It's Monday, but it feels like spring. It's finally warmed up here in the upper Midwest. What? It's got to be a balmy 25 degrees out there,
it's
man.
It's got to be closer to 30.
Woo!
42, guys. It's 42.
What? Really?
Well, it feels quite nice. You should visit the upper Midwest. This would be the week.
We should take the class outside today.
Outside recess. I'm going to wear shorts tomorrow if we get more like this. I might put the top down on the way home.
The heat on and the top down. That's how we do it in Wisconsin.
You know, winter jacket, but at least I'd get a little sun. It'd be the only sun I've gotten in a while. Or at least warmth. Dom, we've got phone callers. You could be like our friend Lonnie. He's been a little patient. 844-967-2789. Lonnie, Happy New Year, buddy. How you been?
Hey, guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
I've been doing pretty good. Breaking one of the resolutions. I wasn't going to get on the radio no more, but damn.
They keep pulling you back, Lonnie. We keep pulling you back.
Man, actually, it's that administration. You know what? They really need to listen to Mueller, and silence is golden.
Silence is golden. I got to ask you quickly, Lonnie, what's the temperature in Albuquerque today?
Oh, I was just sitting up here. We're probably sitting right here now about 58. I'm in the sun right now saying, wow, this feels nice.
Come on, man.
Albuquerque, New Mexico, isn't that a desert climb? Isn't that supposed to be hot or something?
No, well, now we should be having snow and everything, but I don't even think the lizards went in the ground.
Yeah,
it's been
no, they all went to D.C. They all joined the Trump administration.
They're in the swamp, Lonnie.
Whoa, yeah, I forgot.
So, Lonnie, I got to ask you, are you a genius, Lonnie? A lot of geniuses around here these days. I'm a genius. I think Crudy's a genius. Ask me if I'm a genius, Lonnie. Ask me. Go ahead, do it.
Are you a genius?
Yeah.
If somebody asks you if you're a god, you tell them yes.
Well, a god of my own universe. It doesn't mean everybody's in it with me.
No. Everyone's got their own reality. Lonnie, what is it? What are you concerned? What do you think about this?
Does this sound like a man who's concerned? You sound like you're in a good mood, Lonnie. You must realize 2018 is an election year, and this is when the tide starts turning the other way.
Well, I'm looking down the horizon, and I see good things. I see marijuana being legalized in a lot of states. Jeff Sessions out of there. Trump won't shut up, so he's going to continue to convict himself, and my life is good.
Right on, Lonnie. Thanks for sharing with us, man. That's awesome. Hope everyone else is having a great life as well.
Come on, Mountain Time Zone. Is it after 4:20 there?
You can join us on the phones, 844-967-2789.
Now, you said one of your greatest attributes is your sense of humor. I would doubt that. I would say your infectious laugh. Well, you do have a great sense of humor. You often laugh at my jokes. Yeah. And Lonnie's got a great laugh as well, man. He'd get me going, cackling. He's a funny guy.
If you don't laugh sometimes, Crudy, you're just going to cry. We're talking about this Stephen Miller. And
make him laugh. 844-967-2789. He's an easy laugh. Make him laugh.
The Point, Chris Cillizza, CNN editor at large. The 24 most grotesque lines from Jake Tapper's Stephen Miller interview. Now, did you happen to catch any of that other than the clip you played, Crudy?
No, just in printed form. I did not watch any of the Sunday shows. I barely watched football. No, I'm not even clear what I did. Yesterday, I took like a 3-hour afternoon power nap. I couldn't get to sleep last night till like 3 a.m. because I just killed it yesterday afternoon.
You slept all afternoon.
Oh my God, I went down in the guest bedroom where there's no windows, total bat cave.
Yep.
Oh my God. Yeah, I felt fully rested for the first time all weekend, just in time to try and get some sleep.
The clip we played gives you, the cherry on top, but there is some substance behind it. I want to get to it.
And I did not watch the Golden Globes either, so I'm looking forward to hearing Oprah in the 3 o'clock hour. Oprah's on!
We'll play it for the folks. In the meantime, Chris Cillizza on The Point, CNN. White House Senior Advisor Stephen Miller was by turns combative and obsequious in an interview Sunday with Jake Tapper, veering from savaging former ally Steve Bannon and author Michael Wolff to lauding President Donald Trump's intelligence and political savvy. It was something to behold, writes Chris Cillizza. Here are a couple of the memorable lines.
Hurry up, because I got breaking news. It's pretty good.
And forth. What do you got?
Bannon Group tried to sink Trump, this back during the elections, Dom. A conservative group led by Steve Bannon, this according to CNN, just to pop up on the phone. A conservative group led by Steve Bannon shopped around a document during the GOP presidential primary, alleging that Donald Trump had dealings with mobsters. That's why he didn't want his taxes out. I don't know if you saw some of the new Trump Taj Mahal stuff that came out over the course of the weekend.
I did not. Edify me, man. What are you talking about?
Trump apparently, his first year in business at the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, the only guy that would cannibalize not 1, 2, but 3 casinos in the same city, taking his own clients away from himself. But the Trump Taj Mahal, huge case of money laundering, including Fred Trump Sr., who came in, dropped a $3.5 million check on the table, cashed out with chips, and never spent the chips. Effectively gave money to the casino, propped up the casino. Not only that, that was in the Trump Revealed book. I was aware of Fred Trump's efforts to prop up his son's endeavors. Didn't work.
But wasn't that during bankruptcy? I mean, isn't that why they had to?
He did go bankrupt. He did sell off some of his asset, and then eventually I think he screwed that investor as well.
So could I take...
But the bottom line is his first year in business, there were a number... I believe a number greater than 10 of specific circumstances cited that the casino did not honor effectively money laundering statutes. And they did make a settlement. And there was an open records request, a Freedom of Information request. And those pages are mysteriously missing, i.e. who he did business with, who he was laundering the money for. But that news was out there this weekend. The Taj Mahal is subsequently been cited again, I believe 2015, although I believe Trump just owns a small interest in the holding company that holds an interest in the Trump Taj Mahal. It's just his name
Wouldn't
now.
it seem that a casino might be a good opportunity to launder some money?
An outstanding opportunity. That and South Florida real estate and some stuff down in Panama and maybe up in Soho. I mean, this guy he's embroiled in money laundering. That's ultimately the crime that may do him in. That's why we've seen no taxes. And that's why ultimately he wanted to draw that bright red line with Mueller. Can't look at my money laundering activities.
When you say something like that, doesn't it? And I don't understand this. And I don't believe this guy's playing 3-level chess. Hey, okay, you investigate me, but if you go beyond this line, well, then we're going to have problems. Well,
you're wrong. He's a genius and totally stable.
Oh, that's right, because he said so.
I was kept pretty much in the dark.
I'm not even clear if he's up to checkers standards. And quite frankly, I wonder if Ivanka's been caught up in all this, be it the money laundering or the meeting with the Russians. Apparently, she also at least briefly met with the Russians that day in June of 2016, I believe it was. You know, when Trump Jr. and Kushner, her husband, her brother, and Paul Manafort on behalf of the campaign had the 25th floor meeting. Well, apparently Ivanka met with the same Russians outside the elevators.
And no one brought him up to see Dad. That didn't happen. A couple of pieces before we
You mean the Jumbos? Jumbas? Whatever sort of moniker it was that Steve Bannon had created for the Russians.
Stephen Miller on Jake Tapper. A couple of things that I want to kind of bring to light here before we run out of time. Some of Stephen Miller's comments to Jake Tapper were a little stunning. Here is one of them. Here's what Miller said. Steve Bannon's eloquence in the description notwithstanding, it's tragic and unfortunate that Steve Bannon would make these grotesque comments. And here's what Chris Cillizza comments on. Okay, I get what Miller is going for in condemning Bannon's comments to Wolf, but this is not a tragedy in any way, shape, or form. Also grotesque, sort of an odd word choice. I'm telling you, this was a very strange interview. Perhaps Miller's just a strange guy. Number 2, I will also say that the author is a garbage author of a garbage book. Garbage author, garbage book, writes Cillizza. And the tragic thing about this book, again, none of this is tragedy. People dying in an earthquake or a fire or a terrorist attack is a tragedy. A book about the palace intrigue in the White House is not a tragedy. Miller goes on. I saw a man who was a political genius, somebody who we could be going down, landing in descent. There would be breaking news development, and in 20 minutes, he would dictate 10 paragraphs of new material to address that event. Chris Cillizza comments, this is interesting. Miller's idea of political genius is someone who is able to rapidly process breaking information and incorporate it into his basic appeal to voters, which I would agree with, is a kind of genius that most very, very successful politicians possess. Here's another one. I have no knowledge of anything to do with that meeting. Okay, so Miller was not at the June 16 Trump Tower meeting between the Trump campaign officials and Russians. Doesn't know anything about it. Got it, writes Chris Cillizza. And then the hook. Here's what Miller said. But what I can tell you unequivocally is that the allegations and insinuations in this book, which are a pure work of fiction, are nothing but a pile of trash through and through. And Chris Cillizza from CNN writes, so wait, Miller just said he wasn't at the Trump Tower meeting and that he doesn't know anything about it. How then can he insist that everything Wolf writes about that meeting and the book more generally is a pure work of fiction? Just a strange interview that Jake Tapper cut off with Stephen Miller, right to do so. I hope I never have to see Stephen Miller on the air again.
I missed him. No regrets. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. Phone lines always open here to you. 844-967-2789. Like to hear what you think. Donald Trump, did he give you confidence this weekend? He reassured us all he's a super smart and stable guy.
Believe me.
Believe me. If you can't believe the source, if you can't believe the man in the mirror Who can you believe? And I would wonder, is he trying to reassure us or himself? You know the answer. Once again, 844-967-2789. You're listening to WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM.
Dance like marionettes, swaying through the symphony. Just like the Pied Piper, let rest through the streets. Dance like marionettes, swaying through the symphony. Swaying through the symphony of destruction.
You conceal the source of money as by channeling it through an intermediary.
That is totally taken out of context.
I'm going to get you a nice fruit basket. I'm going to miss him.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with Bill Carroll, president of Teamsters Local 344. Bill, why are you union? Teamster strong.
Well, Crudy, our strength comes from our membership. The Teamsters are North America's strongest labor union with 1.4 million members.
Bill, what does the Teamsters do for the next generation?
The same thing that the Teamsters have done for the last 100 years, assisting groups of workers in negotiating improvements in their wages, hours, and working conditions.
Where do people go if they want to know more about the Teamsters, more about joining the union?
There's 3 easy options. They can call Local 344 at 414-258-4545. They can contact us through our website. That's local344.org. Local, the number is 344.org. Or they can contact us through the Local 344 Facebook page.
Be union strong. Join Teamsters 344. Be like Crudy. Be like News Talk 1510 AM. Stand with the unions. Join the Teamsters. Local344.org.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Make a resolution, Milwaukee, to eat your fruits and vegetables. Go to the new Pete's Fruit Market on Martin Luther King and North Ave. Find the freshest fruit, always the perfect peach. Pete's Fruit Market is a brand new, modern, full-service grocery with an in-store butcher shop. Go see the manager, Vidal, for daily specials at the new Pete's Fruit Market on North Ave in MLK. Tell them that the Devil's Advocate sent you.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in the former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
We got Mark Pocan live via phone. Mark, does Paul Ryan hate poor people?
Oh, he hates poor people and middle-class people. I mean, I think when he was probably 5 years old playing with Play-Doh, trying to, adjust the taxes on Play-Doh. And so, to be fair, I think he's doing what he always said he was going to do. It's just no one actually believed he was either that cruel, evil, or dumb to do it.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
60% of the time, they're right every time. Dom and Cruz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD. Streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter at Devil Radio, and on the phones 844-967-2789.
And have a little sympathy for a couple devils. Join us on the phones. Did you give the phone number?
Yeah, do it again, man.
844-967-2789.
That's 844-96-PARTY.
Party.
Crudy, the very smart, genius, and stable president, well, he's working a little bit less these days.
I hear he puts in a hell of a stringent day.
Axios.com, Jonathan Swan.
Now, I start prepping at about 6:40 a.m. And I perceive that as part of my workday and then, deal with the kids. So a little break in the workday and then I
Fits
get back
and
to
spurts.
it.
Yeah, you do what you can.
Get back to it.
Yep.
Does early morning toilet tweeting count as part of the workday?
I think it depends on whether or not you're a Trump supporter or a rational human being.
Because I'm going to be working for you. I'm not going to have time to go play golf. Believe me.
Yeah, not so much, apparently. Here's what Jonathan Swan says. Schedule says Trump, I'm jumping in here, has executive time in the Oval Office every day, 8 to 11 a.m. But the reality is he spends that time in his residence watching TV, making phone calls, and tweeting. Watching TV and talking with your girlfriends and doing social media isn't work.
But that's what we do for work.
Oh, wait, unless you're us. Trump comes down for his first meeting of the day, which is often an intelligence briefing at 10 a.m. 11 a.m. That's far later than George W. Bush, who typically arrived at the Oval Office by 6:45. Obama usually got there between 9 and 10. And Trump's days in the Oval Office are relatively short, from around 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. that he's back to the residence. During that time, he usually has a meeting or two, but spends a good deal of time making phone calls and watching cable news in the dining room adjoining the Oval. Then he's back to the residence. Take a random sample from his week's work schedule. Crudy, here's one from Axios. On Tuesday, Trump has his first meeting of the day with Chief of Staff John Kelly at 11 a.m. He then has executive time for an hour, followed by an hour lunch in the private dining room. Then it's another 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Overdone steak, lots of ketchup.
Of executive time, followed by a 45-minute meeting with National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster. Then another 15 minutes of executive time before Trump takes his last meeting of the day, a 3:45 meeting with Head of Presidential Personnel Johnny DeStefano, before ending his official day at 4:15.
Woo! Puts in radio hours.
I like to work, so that's not a problem. But this is actually more work.
So let's just get a summary from this. 11 a.m., right? 11 a.m.
Love going to work in the morning.
And then he has a 1 hour meeting with Kelly.
Mid-morning.
Then he has a 45-minute meeting with McMaster. And he ends the day with a half-hour meeting with DeStefano.
Oh, tuckered. Need a Red Bull, a Diet Coke, and a Big Mac to wash it all down.
So
maybe a double scotch.
Lots of executive time for the president. So, just in case you folks were concerned,
time is TV time, eh?
It's pretty much what he decides it is. That's what the nice thing about being an executive.
Good to be the king.
Yes, it is.
Dom, I've got a quick story I want to throw out there for your consideration. Right turn opinion. Jennifer Rubin at the Post. Like clockwork on Saturday around 7 a.m. No doubt feeling the sting of a widespread discussion that he is, as his own advisors described to Michael Wolff for his book, Fire and Fury Inside the Trump White House. A dope, a moron, a man-child, a semi-illiterate. President Trump confirmed it all with a tweet. How perfect, a tweet. Actually, throughout my life, my two greatest assets have been my mental stability and being really smart. I'll drop the Trump voice. Crooked Hillary also played these cards very hard, and as everyone knows, went down in flames. I went from very successful businessman to a top TV star. Later in the day, he railed at the notion of free speech. It's a disgrace that he can do something like this, he said at a brief news conference at Camp David. Libel laws are very weak in this country. If they were stronger, hopefully we would not have something like that happen. Both his desire to prevent criticism and his ridiculous cease and desist letter sent by his lawyers to Wolf and the publisher betray his contempt for the First Amendment and his inability to take himself out of the equation and recognize the pillars of democracy, a democracy he took an oath to defend. Trump's emotional and mental limitations should debunk a number of rationalizations from his devoted cultist who insisted he is the best choice in 2016, cheered his first year in office, and continued to pretend he's fit for office. He's sounding presidential. No, he's reading off a teleprompter, likely with very little comprehension. He's playing four-dimensional chess with Kim Jong-un. No, he's impulsively lashing out with the risk of provoking a deadly clash. He's a master manipulator when he shifts from his position to position, sometimes in the same sentence. No, he likely doesn't realize what contradicts what, or remember what he originally said. I have that issue sometimes. His use of alternative facts is a brilliant scheme to control the press narrative. No, he's incapable of processing real information and driven by an insatiable need for praise and reaffirmation. Not time to finish this all. And we want to come back with Oprah Winfrey, Dom. You get a car. You get a car. I get a car. Perhaps we'll put a little more time in on this Jennifer Rubin piece, but I promise you, the entirety of the Oprah Winfrey Golden Globe speech, I didn't see it last night. I have not heard more than just isolated snippets. So I'm using this opportunity during the 3 o'clock hour to do my homework.
A little executive time.
A little executive time with you, our audience. Come back with us, please. We are the Devil's Advocates. Some say the greatest radio show ever. And since it's us, it must be true.
I know words. I have the best words. There's no better word than stupid.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
First step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
You know, they can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise? Something you want to be held to?
Absolutely.
Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home walk restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee.
Leave or be deported. Sports, not nukes. I'm Michael Toscano.
Anger and frustration as Salvadoran immigrants react to news the Trump administration is canceling special humanitarian status for about 200,000 of them who fled an earthquake, meaning they face deportation.
Conditions improved in El Salvador in the 17 years since the devastating earthquake. Senior Trump administration officials said that's why they're ending temporary protected status in 18 months. While some of the 262,000 Salvadorans can apply for a change in their status and stay here, most will likely be sent back to El Salvador. Tens of thousands gave birth to children in the U.S. Now they're looking at the possibility of their families being broken apart. I'm Steve Kastenbaum.
North and South Korea getting ready for their direct talks on the North taking part in the Winter Olympics. The South is hoping that will lead to progress on other issues, but the U.S. insists it won't take part until the North stops its nuclear weapons program. Correspondent Will Ripley is in Seoul.
There is certainly cautious optimism here going into these discussions, even though North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un said he wants to improve relations with his neighbors in the South. He has also said repeatedly he will not give up his nuclear arsenal and, in fact, plans to grow it even more in 2018.
Oprah Winfrey, the talk of Hollywood and Washington after she delivered an empowering speech at last night's Golden Globes Awards, and after word today she may run for president.
So, President Winfrey, two close friends saying she's actively thinking about running, with her inner circle encouraging it. It certainly wouldn't be the first time a billionaire TV star ran for president. The current commander-in-chief, a longtime Oprah fan himself.
Do you have a vice presidential candidate in mind?
Well, I really haven't gotten quite there yet.
I guess it's just
Oprah. I love Oprah. Oprah would always be my first choice.
In Washington, I'm Kristen Holmes.
The S&P and NASDAQ just closed at record highs. I'm Michael Toscano.
Did you just look down at your phone? You did it again, didn't you? You know, you're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel, and a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me, whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextsStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Join the Resistance, WRRD, Resistance Radio. Tune in Monday through Friday beginning at 7 a.m. The Earl Ingram Show starts your day from 7 to 9. Then join Brian and Daryl for 414 Wisconsin from 9 to 11. You can hear the Tom Hartman program from 11 to 2. Then from 2 to 5, it's the Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. Tune in to 1510 a.m. throughout the day. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
/talk. It will be an all-SEC title game tonight as the Georgia Bulldogs meet the Alabama Crimson Tide in the College Football Playoff National Championship in Atlanta. Alabama head coach Nick Saban is keeping an eye on Georgia's running game.
They do a really good job in terms of their system and scheme, in terms of how they try to attack people. Their offensive line has certainly created an identity up front. They've got 2 great running backs. Do a really good job with the play-action passes.
The Crimson Tide have won 4 championships under Nick Saban since 2009. Meanwhile, Georgia head coach Kirby Smart says he's not expecting a shootout.
They got really good defense, so I'll be shocked if it turns into that, but you never know. You really don't. You got special teams plays that are a factor. You got turnovers that can create points, so who knows? We'll find out. I know they got a really good team.
It's Georgia's first title game appearance since 1980. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, the game on ESPN. I'm Michael Toscano.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Good afternoon. It is 3:05 for 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. Governor Walker and Assembly Republicans had reached $1 million deal to help Wisconsin's rural and cash-strapped schools. It still remains unclear whether the Senate will agree with the proposal. Quote, our top priority is driving student success and ensuring our children receive a quality education regardless of where they live. This legislation provides additional support for our rural school districts to address their unique circumstances, says Walker in a statement. Senate Minority Leader Jennifer Schilling says if Governor Walker and the legislative Republicans were serious about funding our local schools, they wouldn't have scrapped the plan in the 2017-19 budget. Tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the low 20s. Tomorrow, partly sunny, highs in the low 30s. Currently, it's 42 degrees here on Brady Street and 39 in Waukesha. For 1510 a.m., WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back, hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Gary Bryan in there making fun of me because I look like, it appears as if I've hurt myself, modestly just moving this chair over. But I think I noted that I got a little stinger in the back. I just noticed it. I didn't hurt myself.
I was
lifting a 12-pound chair.
That's what you get for sleeping all day.
I was laughing because things like this happen to me all the time. Some of my worst injuries have happened when sneezing.
Be very careful.
Before we move on, and it will be time for Oprah soon, Jennifer Rubin's piece, The Washington Post, the stable genius isn't even functioning as president. You know, Donald Trump, of whom his own advisors say a dope, a moron, a man-child, a semi-illiterate. Well, I'm going to pick up this piece, Tom. Seen in the context of his intellectual and emotional limitations, some decisions should set off alarm bells. Take the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Bad. Obama's deal. Worst ever. Get rid of it. People will love me if I get rid of it. That is very likely the sum total of his, air quotes, thinking on the subject. He's not considering the next step, the reaction of allies, the implication for America's standing in the world, the available evidence of Iranian compliance, or any other data point that would go into rational consideration of United States policy. Policy isn't being made or even understood by the president. What comes from his fears and impulses is whatever aides are able to piece together that might satisfy his emotional spasm of the moment without endangering the country. And in parentheticals, the compromise was to decertify the deal, freaking out our allies, but leaving the deal in place for now. I read on, anyone who listens to him speak off the cuff about healthcare or tax legislation knows he will not raise any specifics or make a logical argument for this or that provision. It's all great, fabulous, the biggest. It's not a sophisticated marketing ploy. It's evidence of a total lack of understanding or concern about what is in any given piece of legislation. There is a serious question whether he knows what is in the Affordable Care Act, how Medicaid works, or specifically how the GOP healthcare bills would have worked.
Again, this is Jennifer Rubin, conservative in the right turn writings here in the Washington Post. I'll bring us home. Unfortunately, interviewers tend to shy away from asking questions that will provoke a dreaded word salad. In the case of Fox News, it's Trump enablers know to stay away from anything hard that could prompt him to humiliate himself. Recall that he told the New York Times, quote, "We've created associations. Millions of people are joining associations, millions, that were formerly in Obamacare or didn't have insurance. or didn't have health care. Millions of people, unquote. Too bad he wasn't asked to explain in coherent sentences what all that free word association meant. To defend his continued occupancy of the office, or to insist he's better than Hillary, is to reject the notion of democracy. We cannot accept, let alone applaud, Currier scurrying around to create the appearance of a functioning government. He, not they, is the chief executive and commander-in-chief. We have a vice president elected specifically to take over if the president is incapable of serving. The 25th Amendment does not say, quote, but in a pinch, let the secretaries of defense and treasury run the show, unquote. What we have is a type of coup in which the great leader is disabled. He is propped up, sent out to read lines written by others, and kept safely away from disastrous situations. This is not how our system works, however. We are playing with fire, counting on the ability of others to restrain him from, say, launching a nuclear war and, nearly as bad, jettisoning our representative democracy. Vice President Pence, the cabinet, and Congress have a moral and constitutional obligation to bring this to a stop. Jennifer Rubin.
The Right Turn blog. She is a conservative blogger.
She says that. I'm not clear that I'm convinced yet, given how harsh she has been with this particular Republican president.
Reality is harsh. The reality of his presidency is harsh. Most of us get it. And then there are the complicit Republicans, but we'll talk about that after we take some phone callers. 844-967-2789. Dave from Mequon, you're next. Welcome.
Hey, guys. How are you today?
Good, Dave. How you doing, man?
Yeah, are you defrosting? Hopefully we're thawing out finally.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to get Crudy to keep his pants on in here, Dave.
At like 10 minutes per pound, it could take me 3 more weeks to defrost, Dave.
Well, eventually we'll get spring here soon enough. But anyway, what I was going to say to you guys, I mean, nobody's going to mistake Donald Trump for being a genius. There's no question that that's going to go down in the history books. But I will say this: the flip side is this. I mean, all I have to do is just kind of remind you guys what the past is like with George Bush, with Iraq war, and we had, with Libya, with Obama and Syria, and we had, with Clinton, with North Korea making the deals. So, what I'm trying to say is, even though they're saying, I mean, at the end of the day, we've gotten very little, I think, good out of foreign policy all these years, and we're paying the piper for it today. So, as crazy as he is, I just have to just reflect and say, unfortunately, I just think that the bigger picture of things, we've listened. I mean, it's a mess. I mean, it really is. And unfortunately, I think people have to realize that too.
Dave, appreciate the call. Want to leave time for Oprah. Oprah's next. I'll give you W. I started a war. W started a war, right? But I'm not going to give you North Korea and Bill Clinton. I don't think there's anything equitable between the actions of Bill Clinton, who is legitimately a genius, a Rhodes Scholar. I don't think there's anything equitable about the, 8 years of peace and prosperity under Bill Clinton. Sure, he couldn't keep it in his pants, but I'm not exactly sure that Donald Trump keeps it in his pants, or at least he likes to stick his hand in other people's pants. So no, I don't think it's all the same on all sides. I do not think it's all the same on all sides. I think W started a war of choice. I think his papa started a war. I think Republicans don't mind wars. I'm not clear that Democrats... Obama didn't start no wars. Bill Clinton didn't start any wars. You're thinking of the Bush brothers. And soon to be, Agent Orange himself, Donald Trump. I think it's a coin flip. Could be an award in 2018.
Nah.
Probably started before the midterms. Oh, let you sleep good at night.
Yeah, you got to bring out the voters, right?
He's got nothing else to run on. This is his genius move. Come back with us. We are always thinking ahead. Oprah's next. Oprah's on. I hope I get a car after this short break.
But I'm the decider, and I decide what is best. Wile E. Coyote. Super genius.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Welcome back to The Dog Show. Up next, we have Satchmo. Satchmo is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right, a group known especially for their couch-snuggling, ball-chasing, face-licking, and, of course, companionship. Now, let's see him in action.
Look how he makes eye contact with his person.
That's actually known as the treat stare.
How intuitive, and now he appears to be excitedly turning in circles.
Ah, the happy dance so common with this group.
But really, the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Satchmo is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I improved my credit score.
You're kidding, right?
No.
How are we supposed to be the bad boys of electro-synth pop if you're out there being responsible? The band is about to be discovered. This is our year.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while now.
You think anyone in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was worried about their credit score?
I never really thought that.
Of course they weren't. Rock stars aren't supposed to think about that kind of stuff. We're supposed to think about how many guitars we've smashed, write aggressively sensitive power ballads, start questionable fashion trends, tragically break up and blame creative differences.
All right. I thought maybe it was time to take control of my finances, you know? Start using a budget, get out of debt, set some goals.
A budget? Debt? Set some goals? Listen, I knew that we'd have our creative differences, but I was hoping they'd involve a little more scandal.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I am not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more, it's a no-brainer, I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Diamond Crute Special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Going through divorce is a very emotional time in someone's life, and when I went through my first divorce, I really needed someone to help me through the legal aspects of what my rights were. That's why I got in contact with Lawton & Cates.
The attorneys at Lawton & Cates. It's who you turn to for legal advice. 282-6200 or lawtoncates.com.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton & Cates.
My name is Adam Holmes, and I'm proud to be union.
Adam, you're Director of Training for Painters District Council 7. What do you do?
I'm making sure that we're investing in our members. We're providing the safest and best trained painters, glazers, drywall finishers, and trade show workers in the industry, and we also do that at no cost to the taxpayers.
Why hire unions?
Because it costs less to be safe. We keep the contractor on the right side of OSHA and help keep the workmen's comp rates affordable. Join us, Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
It's a lot easier to measure how many times students use a semicolon correctly in an essay.
Educated educators talking education.
Than it is to measure how many wonderful ideas are in that essay.
Busted Pencils.
There is no teacher shortage.
With Dr. Tim Slecker.
There is a teacher exit.
Featuring Matt Damon's mom.
You want to know what my mom would say?
We've had an intrusion into education.
Busted Pencils Radio. Saturdays at 11 on Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates, so relevant they have 1 foot in tomorrow.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio
It's
show.
a little confusing. Everyone knows what that theme means, and it's not Devil's Advocates.
It is not, nor is it WRRD Wisconsin Resistance Radio. Apparently, that's the Oprah theme song. I do not watch Oprah, so I'm not familiar. But she was on the Golden Globes last night, gave an inspiring speech. We have not heard it in its entirety, so we're going to play it now.
Hush now, Dominic. Oprah's on.
In 1964, I was a little girl sitting on the linoleum floor of my mother's house in Milwaukee, watching Anne Bancroft present the Oscar for Best Actor at the 36th Academy Awards. She opened the envelope and said 5 words that literally made history. The winner is Sidney Poitier. Up to the stage came the most elegant man I had ever seen. I remember his tie was white, and of course his skin was black, and I'd never seen a black man being celebrated like that. And I have tried many, many, many times to explain what a moment like that means to a little girl, a kid watching from the cheap seats as my mom came through the door, bone-tired from cleaning other people's houses. But all I can do is quote and say that the explanation in Sidney's performance in Lilies of the Field, amen, 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 amen. In 1982, Sidney received the Cecil B. DeMille Award right here at the Golden Globes, and it is not lost on me that at this moment, there are some little girls watching as I become the first black woman to be given the same award. It is an honor. It is an honor, and it is a privilege to share the evening with all of them, and also with the incredible men and women who've inspired me, who've challenged me, who've sustained me and made my journey to this stage possible. Dennis Swanson, who took a chance on me for AM Chicago. Quincy Jones, who saw me on that show and said to Steven Spielberg, yes, she is Sophia in The Color Purple. Gail, who's been the definition of what a friend is, and Stedman, who's been my rock, just a few to name. I'd like to thank the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, because we all know that the press is under siege these days. But we also know that it is the insatiable dedication to uncovering the absolute truth that keeps us from turning a blind eye to corruption and to injustice, to tyrants and victims and secrets and lies. I want to say that I value the press more than ever before as we try to navigate these complicated times, which brings me to this. What I know for sure is that speaking your truth is the most powerful tool we all have. And I'm especially proud and inspired by all the women who have felt strong enough and empowered enough to speak up and share their personal stories. Each of us in this room are celebrated because of the stories that we tell. And this year, we became the story. But it's not just a story affecting the entertainment industry. It's one that transcends any culture, geography, race, religion, politics, or workplace. So I want tonight to express gratitude to all the women who have endured years of abuse and assault because they, like my mother, had children to feed and bills to pay and dreams to pursue. They're the women whose names we'll never know. They are domestic workers and farm workers. They are working in factories, and they work in restaurants, and they're in academia and engineering and medicine and science. They're part of the world of tech and politics and business. There are athletes in the Olympics, and there are soldiers in the military. And there's someone else, Recy Taylor. A name I know, and I think you should know too. In 1944, Recy Taylor was a young wife and a mother. She was just walking home from a church service she'd attended in Abbeville, Alabama, when she was abducted by 6 armed white men, raped and left blindfolded by the side of the road, coming home from church. They threatened to kill her if she ever told anyone. But her story was reported to the NAACP, where a young worker by the name of Rosa Parks became the lead investigator on her case. And together, they sought justice. But justice wasn't an option in the era of Jim Crow. The men who tried to destroy her were never persecuted. Recy Taylor died 10 days ago, just shy of her 98th birthday. She lived, as we all have lived, too many years in a culture broken by brutally powerful men. For too long, women have not been heard or believed if they dared to speak their truth to the power of those men. But their time is up. Their time is up. Their time is up. And I just hope that Recy Taylor died knowing that her truth, like the truth of so many other women who were tormented in those years, and even now tormented, goes marching on. It was somewhere in Rosa Parks' heart almost 11 years later when she made the decision to stay seated on that bus in Montgomery. And it's here with every woman who chooses to say, "Me too." And every man who chooses to listen. In my career, what I've always tried my best to do, whether on television or through film, is to say something about how men and women really behave, to say how we experience shame, how we love and how we rage, how we fail, how we retreat, persevere, and how we overcome. And I've interviewed and portrayed people who've withstood some of the ugliest things life can throw at you. But the one quality all of them seem to share is an ability to maintain hope for a brighter morning, even during our darkest nights. So I want all the girls watching here and now to know that a new day is on the horizon. And when that new day finally dawns, it will be because of a lot of magnificent women, many of whom are right here in this room tonight, and some pretty phenomenal men fighting hard to make sure that they become the leaders who take us to the time when nobody ever has to say, "Me too," again. Thank you.
Rousing speech, Dominic. Only two other lines she should have included. A, either "you get a car, you get a car, you get a car," or B, "I'm Oprah Winfrey and I'm running for president in 2020.
Let's talk about that.
Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates right here on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Our phone line, 844-967-2789. Come back with us because Oprah's on.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
I am here from the future. The bridge is out because you didn't fund the roads. Listen to 1510 AM WRRD, Milwaukee, Waukesha. Listen to them if you want to live.
Wisconsin Republican Attorney General Brad Schimmel claims he will further investigate the investigators of the John Doe 2 investigation because it was all a partisan witch hunt. Wisconsin State Rep Chris Taylor said this.
There is absolutely no concern expressed by this Attorney General or these Republican legislators about the underlying criminal conduct that this corruption investigation revealed. Scott Walker was breaking laws.
And Brad Schimmel fails to acknowledge the 6 criminal convictions, 4 felonies of the Scott Walker John Doe 1. Was that also a partisan witch hunt?
One newspaper has done a good job. It's a national paper, the Wall Street Journal.
And AG Schimmel filed an embarrassing hack partisan bull report where he's still looking for the leaker. Get a clue! Wasn't it Eric O'Keefe from Wisconsin Club for Growth?
Well, I was born to do this.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org. P4ppc.org. Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Live via phone, he is former U.S. Attorney Jim Santel.
Firing Bob Mueller doesn't mean that the prosecution, the investigation goes away. Pardoning one individual does not mean that you undo everything that has been done before. So this notion that somehow by shutting down and by pardoning and by sort of stopping the process, you're also stopping the wheels of justice is simply, again, it's simply wrong.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Good afternoon. It is 3:32 for 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. The state of Wisconsin agreed to a $55,000 settlement last year with a woman who claimed she was sexually harassed while working at a prison in Racine. The woman said she was kissed, mistreated, and ultimately fired by her female supervisor. Several women at the Racine Correctional Institution face either harassment, retaliation for speaking up, or both, according to claims made in federal court in Milwaukee. Despite an investigation that found that harassment had occurred, the supervisor is now working at a nearby prison at a job that pays over $97,000 a year. Tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the low 20s. Tomorrow, partly sunny, highs in the low 30s. And Wednesday, mostly cloudy, highs in the low 40s. Currently 42 degrees in Milwaukee, 38 in Waukesha. For 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. You can join us at any time. It's always toll free. You get a free call. You get a free call.
Hey, everyone gets a free call.
844-967-2789. Oprah Winfrey last night. It sounded a lot like a political stump speech.
Did it?
Yes.
I mean, perhaps I didn't.
Rhetorically, it sounded like she crescendoed. It was a well done speech.
It was a great speech,
but it sounded a lot like a political stump speech. She even talked about. Let me tell you about this lady. You know what I mean? They all do that. It's the same rhetorical mechanism incorporated by many politicians. And well, Oprah's the master.
It's a speech, sure. I think the same setup can be used in any speech. It doesn't have to be political.
Really? Donald Trump couldn't pull it off. Really?
Reading off a teleprompter, sure.
I don't think he could. Nothing that resembled that. There is a difference in the ability to communicate. I forget who I was telling over the weekend. I was bad-mouthing you in your absence. I said, once upon a time we used to do this show and Obama would give a State of the Union address. And what would you do? You would just read the text?
Yeah,
I don't
read
need
the transcripts. Yep.
I'll read the transcript.
Ain't got time for that.
And I'm thinking, rhetorically speaking, A, you don't get to see the high theatrics of who's standing and sitting and clapping and all that kind of stuff.
But nor do you fall for it.
But B, the effect of most speeches is the giver. The giver's got to be believable, let's say. Authentic.
Come on, all a giver's got to do is say, believe me.
BS. BS. Well, I would readily agree. Oprah Winfrey, one of the most talented communicators. I mean, not because she's super duper polished. I mean, there are better speakers. I don't mean to, make anyone mad. Oprah Winfrey, very talented, but there are people that are nearly perfect with their diction, with their words. I look to the example of Bob Costas. Impeccable. He nearly, unlike myself, he almost never misspeaks.
Well, he probably practices a little more than you do.
Well, he might read his scripts a few times.
And have some scripts written for him.
But I don't think America's ready for, another star to be the next president.
America or Crudy?
I am not ready. I'm not ready. I think it's the wrong time. Oprah Winfrey, maybe if she'd have gone out and challenged Donald Trump.
What do you mean wrong time?
It's the wrong time because Donald Trump is...
What's the right time?
When Donald Trump's not the president. When Donald Trump's not the president, we need serious governance coming next. And no offense to Oprah, but I'm not sure she's, any more in her depth in foreign policy than Donald Trump is.
I don't know that, one way or the other.
Well, I would like to think she would at least make the effort to try and learn. That would be different than Donald Trump's trying to do. But I don't.
What do governors from Wisconsin, Scott Walker, have in foreign policy experience besides having the state of Wisconsin taxpayers pay for him to go out to a couple different countries to try to get some foreign policy experience?
And sell some cheese and punt on the evolution question.
Right.
Well, clearly, a guy like Scott Walker was not qualified to be the president of the United States, nor was Donald Trump, nor is
I understand.
Nor is Oprah Winfrey.
Is any state governor ready to be president of the United States?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Based on what?
On chief executive experience. At least they've been in decision-making
I understand
chief executive
but that doesn't
roles.
Provide you any knowledge as far as foreign policy is concerned. Every single state governor in this country, unless they're dialed in somehow or came from a foreign policy background, would
went
have
to Congress, maybe were in the Senate, and maybe, paid attention. And I'm not saying Oprah Winfrey is not an incredibly bright lady, that she could not acclimate herself. But do we, as an American people, I mean, no offense to Oprah, but do we want another reality star after this jackass? Really? Really, the American people wouldn't be done already? I don't care if it is a very, charismatic, great communicator. I mean, talking about turning out the votes, African-American women, they'd come out and they'd vote for Oprah. Hell, white women, suburban women, all women, I'd vote for Oprah. But
what's the but? Isn't that what you need? I mean, hell, look at all the people that voted for Trump.
She's not prepared for foreign policy. She has not created the resume. People should not go from television to the White House.
Was President Obama prepared for foreign policy?
I think he was more prepared. He was in the Senate.
Was for what? How long? I mean, he had a little exposure, sure, but not long. Was George W. Bush, was he prepared for foreign policy?
Started a war.
Now, at least H.W. was the CIA director. I mean, he knew,
I don't know if that's something I necessarily...
he knew where the bodies were buried, and he has... That's foreign policy.
I would readily admit he was much more prepared, talking about H.W. Bush than George W. Bush, or perhaps even Bill Clinton.
Right.
But it's such a daunting job. It's the biggest job in the world.
And who would want that job, right? I mean, you gotta. Oprah Winfrey doesn't need the money. Trump didn't need the money. The same arguments that would.
It's a $400,000 a year job, which pays more than this little radio gig.
Oh, so we should run for president.
But in the whole scheme of private industry, $400,000 a year is nothing compared to Wall Street money. Certainly nothing compared to Oprah money. What's she worth? About $3 billion?
Forbes 2017 said $2.8 billion. So yeah, just under 3.
Okay, so $3 billion. And unlike Trump, those are probably real dollars. As I mentioned, Trump's just holding on to some dollars for
Russia.
Some guy's named Sergey. I'm just holding it in my account
for him. If it's in my account, it must be mine, right? Yeah.
And the Trump name, that's got to be worth billions.
Here's the thing, and I never watched, like afternoon television. Never bought into it. It wasn't my thing.
You've not seen Oprah's show?
I have never seen like a full hour of Oprah
You are
show, no.
not qualified to opine on Oprah Winfrey as a chief executive if you never gave the time to watch. I mean, it's only like 42 minutes.
She's successful.
She spent most of the show telling us what's coming on the next segment.
She's a communicator, as you mentioned. I have no idea what her policy
The best
positions
salter of all time.
are. I know she gave it with the cards. And again, I absolutely appreciate that strong, successful woman. Who wouldn't want a strong, successful woman to run against someone like Donald Trump? Why wouldn't anybody want that? But I'm not going to make that decision based on how much money she has in the bank and how great she did on television or her movies, et cetera, et cetera. I am not fond of that whole thing, given the current state of our presidency. But would I consider it? Sure. Why wouldn't I? I'm not going to disqualify someone just because they have a background not similar to, at least in the entertainment perspective, to Donald Trump.
844-967-2789. You down for Oprah 2020? And I know that there are some Republicans that might actually fear Oprah Winfrey. You are right to fear her. I see there are all sorts of videos, or at least pictures, of her and Harvey Weinstein out there on the Facebook. There are lots of pictures of her giving a cheek kiss or getting a kiss or sitting uncomfortably close with Harvey Weinstein. And of course, they're trying to tarnish her. Even the rumor that she might be considerate, one strong speech, and the righties are already coming out to crush Oprah Winfrey. Now, I think she can probably take care of herself just fine. But Trump wrecked it for her. Any chance that someone like Oprah Winfrey, a very dynamic, charismatic human being, someone that might capture the imagination and might be lifted up with a broad field of contenders. You know, there would probably be 10, 15, 20 Democratic presidential candidates, not to mention here in the state of Wisconsin. Right. I mean, if Oprah ran for governor of the state of Wisconsin, she'd be our next governor, I strongly suspect. And she might even have a fighting chance to be president. But unfortunately, Trump has burned it down and salted the earth behind him.
You're painting
no
her with the
TV
Trump brush.
reality star will ever become president. Ever, ever, never again. God be my witness.
I don't know.
Or
about
Oprah,
that.
depending on who you worship.
844-967-2789. What do you think? Do you think, number one, Oprah is considering a run now? News reports.
Who's going to be her vice president? Phil Donahue?
See, you know that's coming.
Jerry Springer?
Yes, Jerry. Come on. Who's the guy
Former
on
mayor
Fox?
of Cincinnati, Jerry
I was going to
Springer?
say he did hold public office.
Which is more than you could say for Donald Trump. Jerry Springer is more qualified to be the president than Donald Trump.
So would you, if Oprah decides to run, would you not vote for her simply because?
I wouldn't vote for her in the primary. No. I mean, ultimately, if she was the candidate and the opponent's Donald Trump, sure, Oprah's my lady.
What is Oprah's position on Medicare for all?
I believe she would, talking about you get a car, you get a car, you get single payer, you get single payer, you get single payer.
But you don't know that. You believe that, right?
I do believe that.
Okay. So you don't know any of her
from some of the personal philosophies she's put out there. It was funny. Kelsey, who works in a salon out in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills specifically, Golden Globes. Well, you're always thinking who's coming in the shop today. Yeah. Any famous people? Well, Kelsey posted this little video of Oprah yesterday, and I thought Oprah came in the shop. And it was Oprah at a hair salon, and it was something she just posted on her Instagram. She's had other celebrities